on, guys? It's Justin. It's been a few weeks, and it's obviously because I am constantly answering messages in my DMs, which I don't want to be doing all day. I want to be tuning cars, and in order for me to be able to tune cars, I need you guys to use your brain, use your Facebook groups, use your Google search, use your resources other than me to answer basic general knowledge questions about the Mazdas that have been answered thousands of times. So it's really delaying my tuning, and you guys who want your tunes, every time you message me, it's delaying your tune. So I would just appreciate it if you guys let me work, you know. And I don't want to sound like an a-hole. It's just, you guys have to realize hundreds of you are messaging me every day. If I spend 1 minute with 100 people, that's 100 minutes. All right, that's almost 2 hours gone just spent messaging when I could have been doing, you know, I could probably get 6 or 7 tunes done in that hour. So I just need you guys to be considerate of my time. I don't have much free time, and I would like to use my personal time to do other things than answering questions all day. So if your question is really not in like an emergency or anything like that, I would prefer not to get messages at all. I know I don't want to sound like an a-hole, but it's just, there's too many of you guys, and I know, like, I'm friendly on Instagram, but I get tired and I don't want to message people all day. I want to do my job, okay, which is tuning and making better tunes for you guys, and I can only do that if you guys aren't disturbing me all day, okay? So I'm gonna stop talking about this subject, and we're gonna flashback 3 weeks ago to a video I couldn't post because everyone seems to want to message me on Monday when I'm trying to make a Mazda Monday video. So if you guys want your Mazda Monday videos, Monday is not the day to message me because I take the weekends off, and then when I come in on Monday, I have to answer all the emails from the weekend. So if you guys can wait, don't email me or don't message me on Monday if you want your Mazda Monday videos. That's plain and simple, because if you guys all are excited and you can't message me on the weekend, and then Monday rolls around and then 300 people, 200 people want to message me on the Monday, you're not getting a Mazda Monday because I'm going to be answering messages all day. So let's go ahead and go back a couple weeks, and we're going to just do a quick intake video. And I want to start getting more in depth with this stuff, and we will do that eventually. So let's go ahead and just watch this little video. I'm just giving you guys something so you have something to watch. All right, one of my customers that lives near me, Bo, came down just so I could get a Mazda Monday video for you guys. So here we go. We got our second gen over here, the 2.0 liter. We got the 2.5 turbo, 4th gen, and we got my supercharged 2.5. Now, what I wanted to show you guys is just the difference in the air intake systems and why you should not go so crazy over, you know, your hot ram air intakes. You know, I've logged a lot of cars. Heat is the enemy of making power on these vehicles. So now on Bo's setup, it's pretty basic. He has the bare minimum done, but the most essential things I think that are important for the turbo models, because we're trying to keep heat down as low as possible so we can make power without spending a lot of money. So his car looks very OEM, if you can't see. Like, I mean, he has a little bit of red here. He got this K&N sticker. He doesn't even have a K&N in here. He has a AFE because it is a dry flow, because we don't like oil filters around here. So anyways, let's go over his build that he has here, which is sleeper AF. So the 4th gens, let me turn this camera around for you guys. So the 4th gens have a actual snorkel that is in the grill, and the air has to travel this way and then up, right? And that keeps moisture and stuff from getting inside the intake, because of that. The air has to travel up before it can go into the snorkel and the air box. All right, so underneath here, I'll show you in a little clip, there's this lip under here, and it's obstructing airflow. So as the air is coming up, it's hitting this lip. So I'm gonna cut it off to expose the metal underneath. Wear safety goggles when you do this, guys. But I'm a risk taker. There is the snorkel opening he's cut out the snorkel opening so that it matches flush with the rest of the snorkel. So this is pretty much a ram air intake, because it is a closed system and you're getting all the cold air only from the front of the vehicle, and it's traveling up in here and then down into the box, and it goes through his high flow AFE filter that he has. Now, it's a pretty basic simple system. He has the cutout done for this to get a little bit more air, the high flow dry airflow filter, and he changed out his accordion hose that are on here for a smooth one. And I know a lot of people don't think it does much, but I can physically feel it because you're reducing the turbulence, and so the response is a little bit better. Just anytime you're reducing, turbulence, especially when you're having high boost and high airflow, the vehicle just performs better. So this is a closed system, so all of his air intake temperatures are going to be the temperature out here, and that's going to get read by this MAF sensor. Now, the temperature, whatever this MAF sensor reads, is going to determine the amount of power you're going to get. The higher the temperature this air sensor this mass airflow's air sensor reads, tongue twister, the lower your power. So if your temperature goes up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the car is going to pull ignition timing. So the lower the temperature reads on here, the more ignition timing the vehicle will be allowed, and it won't subtract as much. If it gets really cold, it actually adds ignition timing, which is responsible for adding power. Now, like I said, that's all he has done to his air intake system. It's pretty simple. He still has his stock, turbo inlet pipe and his stock charge pipe. Now, I know a lot of people have been doing the aftermarket charge pipes and turbo inlet pipe. I think it's beneficial to keep them stock unless you're going big turbo and you need the extra flow, because I know a lot of people talk about aluminum cools down and it pulls heat, but also it radiates heat. And like if you had a charge pipe, it's going to absorb the heat from the engine bay, and it's going to soak into the air. And even though I know people say plastic is an insulator, it doesn't radiate heat like aluminum does. So you got to think about that. If you're tongue twister again, if you're radiating heat internally as an airflow, and that's going to increase the charge temperature, and you don't want to do that. So that's all he has for his intake, to keep the most economical and coldest air possible without spending a lot of money, because I think he only paid a couple $50 or $60 for the Corksport short ram air intake hose, and then he paid like, I don't know, $60 probably for his filter. So his intake cost him $120, and he cut that out for free, and it's probably the best intake you could do if you're on stock turbo, besides doing the BMS stage 2. But the problem is with the BMS stage 2, if you live somewhere where there's water and you got that filter sitting down here, especially if you have the sedan, it'll get soaked by water. All right, so this is the best intake for air temperatures other than the BMS stage 2. And then the only other thing that I know he has done is he has the CX50 NA thermostat. So again, we're trying to control the temperatures. If he keeps the coolant temperatures low, that sensor actually increases ignition timing. So coolant temperature and oh yeah, and he just told me he has his shutters open. All right, give me a second. I have to take a phone call. This always happens when I'm recording every single time. So anyways, we're talking about temperatures. Air intake temperatures affect your ignition timing, which ignition timing is important for power. And coolant temperatures also affect your power, because that reduces your ignition timing as well. So those two things are the major things that are like why you notice your car is slower throughout the day, because everything is temperature based. And so if you have higher coolant temperatures, or if you have higher air intake temperatures, that is going to reduce your ignition timing, which is going to reduce your power. All right. And so like I said, those are the two main things that were done. He also has the higher heat range spark plugs, Deal Car 8 pretty much the spark plugs that are in the GTR. So they're just the NGK heat range 8 spark plugs. These come with a heat range 7, but we were running higher boost, so it's better just to have the heat range 8 because the stock plugs are rated for 40k miles, and obviously if you're tuned, that's going to cut the lifespan down to 30k miles. So we upgraded to the 8s, so that should give you at least 50 to 60k mile range. All right, and the last thing he has done, he just reminded me before I cut the video, he has his grill shutters open to also help with the temperatures, because now this is going to affect your coolant temperatures as well, but also the temperatures for your water to air system for your cooling of the turbocharge. So yeah, so there's AIT1, which is for your intake, and then there's AIT2, which is post intercooler. All right, so having his grill shutters open, the thermostat from the NACX50, and having a modified stock system is going to give you the best cooling and the most power, and you pretty much look stock, you know. So this car, that's pretty much all he has done to the car. From my memory, he doesn't even have anything done to the exhaust. The car is pretty much stock, but he surprises people because it has this combined with the tune. So that's it for that. I'm gonna show you guys the difference between that system and what's on the 3rd gen. So like I said, we have a Snorkel on the 4th gen, that's right here, and it comes from the grill. It's gonna be a little bit different on 3rd gen. Guys, I'm here with another customer. I'm currently updating his tune right now. And his car is pretty much stock, just like the last one. All he has done is the, I think a drop-in K&N filter, Autoexe hose, and spark plugs. He probably should upgrade his thermostat. I have one. I might ask him if he wants to buy one off of me, since I give it to him for cost. But anyways, I want to show you the difference between the 4th gen and the 3rd gen on how the air delivery is different. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this camera around. All right, so as you can see, this is not a turbo model. This is the 3rd gen. They didn't have the turbos unless you got a Mazda 6, CX-5, or a CX-9. So the difference is on the stock air box for this, it is not going through the grill. It is right here. The Snorkel is right here, which is under the hood, right? So this is different. You're not getting the air from the grill Snorkel coming up through here. So where is the air coming in? All right, so let's look at this. How would you get air into this? So we look at this right here, this all this open space right here. All right, so it took, it didn't take me that long, but really this design is a little bit different, and I know some people do the aftermarket and they get the extension and it goes into the grill, but let me just show you how cheap it is to get the actual extra air out of this vehicle, to this vehicle, for a ram air effect. So how this works is, it comes, instead of coming in through a Snorkel on the side, it comes through the front of the grill, and the air comes up through the hood latch and all these little vents here. So it'll come up through here, and after it comes up, it's gonna hit the top lid of the hood, right? So now how do we direct the air towards this? So this weather stripping that's right here creates a seal between the engine bay and this front section of the car. So it'll seal off right here. See this line? It seals off right there, and all the air that's coming through here is going to get forced over into this, right? So as you can see how they have this dip right here, it's for this, but all the air is going to come along here and get forced into there. All right. Now, how do we get more air into this Snorkel? Well, what you could do is you can come here and you can remove this right here, and you can pull this off. After you pull it off, there's a little hood latch plastic cover. You can pull it off as well. So we might do that right now if he wants the extra air. So like I said, his setup's pretty simple. He has like a Can-In drop-in, just like the other guy, but the other guy has an AFE now, and he has the Autoexe for smooth transition. And the only other thing he has is the spark plug. So I might try to get him to upgrade to the NA650 thermostat, because he's a 3rd gen and he can use it. So I'm back on my couch, and as you can see, that was a very short video. I've done a video like this before, but I feel like I have to keep repeating myself. So yeah, that is likely the best intake. There's so many intakes on the market, but I even have a Pure 500 running the stock air box with the cut open snorkel, and it's just fine with way higher airflow than the other turbos. So that's it. I'm keeping it simple. The next video, I guess I gotta go over exhaust again, maybe not, maybe just engine operations. But really, what I want to do is I want to start sharing more information, but I feel like it's not valued as much as it should be. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna keep doing these Mazda Mondays, and then just do my general videos for everyone to view. And then I'm going to start doing like a paid subscription, and it'll be more for people who are curious about tuning. So I'll pretty much break it down into sections. I know I should probably be keeping all my tuning secrets to myself, but it is what it is. I want to kind of teach you guys more in depth on how the engine operates and what people really don't know about the Skyactiv that I had to learn through trial and error, because all information out there is not a one size fits all, so like the things that work for one car won't work for yours. Like people do camshafts. Camshafts won't help you make more power on a naturally aspirated Skyactiv really, but if you had a turbo on your car, it could help you make more power because you can reduce the overlap, which will allow you to trap more gases in the cylinder, like air, so it's just stuff like that people don't know the synergistic effects of different components. So, like cams do work, but the build has to be built around the cams, right? So me throwing cams in some of these 2.0s and 2.5 NAs, the cams don't really help unless you know what you're doing. Like if you change the cam duration to make it shorter, now you have less scavenging. And so if you do that, you have to reduce your exhaust back pressure in order to get extra scavenging, because you don't have as much overlap. So what you need is more, I guess, pressure differential. And that stuff I'll go over later on. And, that's it for today. Just a short video. I just want to try to get back on track. And I hope you guys appreciate these videos next time.